monthly-ish webinar, and this meeting is being recorded as of now. It will be available as a recording from the Coordinator's Corner. We'll have it posted probably in about a week. The agenda today: intros, welcomes, and farewells. An update on the upcoming reprint of the Project Wild Terrestrial Guide, which also connects to a little quick discussion about inventory counts. We're going to talk about the Project Wild conference just in a few weeks, and an update on the Project Wild EE 360 Plus grant, among other things, or I should say at least one part of that is updates on the Google Classroom. All right, is there any other item, announcement, or items from anyone out there that could go on the agenda, that you want to go on the agenda? All right. And okay, I just checked the chat. I didn't see any. All right. Elena, would you like to start with the welcomes?
Sure, we are welcoming 2 new wild ones this meeting. Sarah is coming to us from New Mexico. Kelly and I had a great conversation with her, was it yesterday, the day before, something like that. And I will say, I think you all are gonna love working with Sarah because she's the first person we've brought on who really was not overwhelmed at all. She's like, yeah, I got this, not a big deal. So I think she'll do a great job, and we look forward to working with her in New Mexico. And then BB Dalton Harrison is joining us from the South Carolina Wildlife Federation. And she just started, I think, a week or 2 ago. So I don't think she's joining us on the meeting today, but we look forward to working with her in the future. Yeah, y'all know this. Sorry about that, but you know, the best thing is that we can recruit Carrie to work with us on invasive species and amphibians and reptile issues. So she'll be, like I said, she'll be right over there. So anytime you need to see Carrie, I'll just tilt my computer and we'll feel right at home. And we will certainly miss her in the Project Wild family. But I think she'll do great at AFWA, and everyone here at AFWA is looking forward to her joining the team. And then we'd like to welcome Marcy Delos. She's interning at AFWA, and she has this really dubious job ahead of her because she's actually working a little bit with like the legal team. She's working a little bit on Recovering America's Wildlife Act. She's working a little bit with Project Wild, a little bit with the management assistance team. So we have her learning all things AFWA. She'll know more about AFWA than Mark or Kelly or myself by the time she's done here.
I wanted to say too that Marcy jumped right in with the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Project Wild Coordinator team, which is an area that she's had experience with in the past. And she jumped in with much enthusiasm and is doing work on that to help us make the coordinator handbook even stronger through those lenses of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. All right. Okay, so I wanted to give you an update about where we are with our inventory and what we learned about your inventories for guides. We are running very low on the Project Wild guide, and we are in full gear now to get it reprinted as soon as possible. The process, once we get the files to the printer, it takes at least a month to get the books shipped. Sometimes it takes longer, occasionally it doesn't take that long. We expect the next batch of guides to be shipping probably towards the end of September. We're printing a very modest amount, a fairly short run or small run, based on the survey that you all filled out in recent weeks, and thank you for that information. So you may remember filling this out, I hope you do, but I took those numbers and we we were able to get an estimate of how many we need to get us through 2021 into 2022. If you did not fill this out and you anticipate putting in orders for guides, or if you think you're going to order more guides than what you had put into this, let me know, please. The survey still is active, and if anyone needs access to that link, we can give it to you. If you do enter new information into the survey, send me an email also so I know to check, but or just email me or phone me to tell me about your order. Okay. Any questions about our reprint? I'll say too, while we're waiting for possibly questions, this year we are not doing any other reprints for Aquatic Wild, for Growing Up Wild, for Flying Wild. We do anticipate more of those happening in 2022. One question that always comes up when we reprint the guide, are there any changes that you should know about? The changes for the next printing of this 4th edition of Project Wild are minimal, so no, there are no significant changes. Okay, Kelly, do you want to talk about the conference?
I do. How'd you know? So the conference is 18 days, 21 hours, 21 minutes, and 3 seconds away from this moment. So I hope you are as excited as we are. You can click to the next slide, Mark. We do ask that you go ahead and register if you haven't already. I think probably about 24, 25 of you are registered at this point. And we hope that because it's a virtual conference and because the fee is very affordable, we think at $40, that most coordinators will be able to attend. And the sooner you can register, the better. It just helps us keep an eye on the budget and make sure we're going to be covering our expenses with the conference platform and our speakers and all that good stuff. You can go ahead and click a little bit. Another one. So we also encourage you to invite your facilitators. I know some of you have done that. I think we have about 10 to 12 facilitator registrations thus far. So they are welcome to join us for Tuesday and Wednesday. And I put together a flyer that we're going to be sending out that you can just pass right along to them to let them know a little bit about what's involved at the conference. And it has the link to the website to register. We have selected the concurrent sessions, so I'll be populating those on the conference platform and website shortly. I think we have about 8 concurrent sessions, so lots of good stuff. As I mentioned, the platform is called Feedloop. So after you register, you'll get a password to log in, and you can go ahead and log in and kind of familiarize yourself. It's pretty intuitive in terms of, you know, the agenda and the attendees. If I know we've all been on virtual platforms for the past 15 months, so that's what it is. And if you have any questions, let me know. And we will be sending out a survey about the 2022 Project Wild Conference because we've got to get into gear planning for that. We hope to be in person. We're also talking about hybrid options, what that might look like. So keep an eye out for that. And you can click to the next slide, Mark. All right, we are going to be doing a scavenger hunt as part of this year's conference. So if some of y'all are familiar with Goose Chase, it's an app that you can download on your phone. And that's just a way for us to encourage y'all to go outside and do some fun things and interact with nature. So we're not just sitting on the screen the whole week. So we're going to open that up the week before the conference so you can start doing some of those missions as they're called. And we will have a book club as well. There are 3 different options. We have an article called What Do We Do About John James Audubon by Drew Lamb. There's a book by Dr. Carolyn Finney called Black Faces, White Spaces, Reimagining the Relationship of African Americans to the Great Outdoors. You can kind of click through these, Mark. I think I put them as bullets. And then the last one is World of Wonders in Praise of Fireflies, Whale Sharks, and Other Astonishments by Amy Nizuka Matatil. And I don't think I pronounced that right. And, okay, repeat about the 2022 conference survey. We do have a couple of conference sponsors, Acorn Naturalists and Nature Watch, so we're grateful to them for helping make our virtual conference happen this year. And if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to put the link to register in the chat. Conference questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions about the conference? And we will be sending more information.
I have a dumb question. I've been so busy doing stuff that I can't remember if I registered or not.
I don't think you have, Jen. I'll double check, but I don't think you have.
I will do that today.
Thank you.
Well, Jen, don't feel too bad. The same thing happened to me, and I stumbled across the confirmation email. So you're not alone. Okay. This also relates to the conference. This is a screenshot of the Google slide presentation we will be using, that you will be using to upload photos and brief descriptions of the items you're donating to help us raise money for Project Wild. So the first slide is gives all the instructions, but what you will do when you go to this site is create a new slide, put up a photo of what you're donating, put in a suggested starting bid amount, and somewhere your name. You can put it in the slide, or you can put it in the note section underneath the slide if you want. That is off with staff, we will take this information and we will then add it to the bid sheet. And the bid sheet, and before I move on from this, I want to give you the URL. There it is at the top. Oops. tinyurl.com, wild auction 21. Let me post that in the chat. I have to exit the presentation view to do that. Okay, so that's for the auction, the Google slide wild auction site. And then for to place your bids, most items will go into the silent auction, and we will pull some out to go into the live auction. But you're going to want to check the silent auction bid sheet frequently between now and, well, through the conference. And there's an example of a starting bid here, in item number 3 for the book Our Wild Calling. So what you will do is you will enter your name and put in a higher bid. And then at a certain closing time on, I guess it would be Wednesday, the 5th of August, sometime around 5 or 5:30, we're going to close the bid. All right. There will be another sheet too where we pull out some of the bigger items for the live auction. And if you don't see your item added to the silent bid sheet, it's because it's on the other sheet. Okay, so moving on, before I do though, any questions about the auction? Yes, Kelly.
Not a question about the auction, but I did want to add that we also are going to have our new coordinator orientation on Monday, August, what would that be? August 2nd. Yeah, so should have added a bullet in about that. But if you are a new coordinator, please plan to attend. And if you are not a new coordinator, we'd still welcome you to share your perspective with newer coordinators. That will be on Monday, August 2nd from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. So I'll make sure to include that information in an upcoming email.
Okay, well, moving on. So the EE360 Plus grant, you've had some updates in recent weeks. I wanted to tell you about the Google Classroom site where we are posting information and encouraging dialogue about that grant. You may have received, or I think you all should have received from me, from my markl@projectwild.org Gmail address, an invitation to join this class. Once you go to this class, you have to click a button to join to become a student. And once you're a student, then you'll have access to what other people have posted, and then you can post as well. Most people, last I checked, it was less than half of you have joined, but I encourage you to go ahead and do so. I know a few people have started posting ideas about what they would like to apply for with the funding. I'm also going to, and I think you can see it at the bottom of the screen, there's a link to the classroom. If you go to that classroom, so to follow that link, you should be signed in to Google. That is, open up a Gmail or sign in at Google Chrome, but you need to be signed into Google, and you should be able to get in with that link. And once you're there, click join. If you need a class code, it's down here at the bottom, H5S5B5Q. I'm going to post that in the chat.
I just threw it up there,
Oh,
Mark.
okay, thank you. All right. Any questions about the Google Classroom? I know that.
Yeah.
I know at least one person has explained it's difficult for them to use Google Classroom because of security measures at their state agency. And this is an ongoing theme with Google Apps. And yet it still seems to be the best way to collaborate. If we have a better way, we'll use it. But for now, we're doing Google. And if you want the information and can't access it, let me know. I'd be happy to share with you in another format what people have posted. And if you want me to post something for you, I'm very happy to do that.
Yeah, we definitely did we had a good discussion about which platform to use. It seems like because so many of you work at state agencies, you're going to get locked out of something, whether it's Teams or Google Classroom or whatever other platform we come up with. So this is the best we could come up with for now. But if you can't access Google Classrooms at all, please let us know. We don't want to exclude you from the conversation or the information at all. So we want to make sure you still have opportunities to interact with others and make sure you have access to all the latest and greatest information. You know, and speaking of which, I can give you the update of where we are, because it's the same exact place as where we were the last time we met, in that we are waiting to sign our agreement with NAAE. And again, we just can't move forward with distributing any funds or making promises to you that we're going to give you funds until we legally sign an agreement with NAAE. So that's where we are with that. I can also tell you that we have interviewed for the position of an instructional designer to help us with our online courses. And Mark and Kelly and I are meeting tomorrow. We conducted those interviews this week, and hopefully we'll be making a decision shortly. And we look very forward to having more online courses available, as well as making them look nicer and having a lot more interactivity associated with them. So we're slowly on our way. But again, we can't sign an agreement with the instructional designer until we've signed something with NAAE. Does anybody have any questions about that? Comments? Okay. All right. Thanks.
We're whizzing right through this. So our next meeting, Thursday, September 16th, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll send out a link.
That's it?
I think so.
Okay.
Unless anyone else has anything. All right.
All right. You know what I always say, use your time for good and not evil.
Thanks, everyone. Some of us will stay on for a few minutes. If you want to chat afterwards, you're welcome to. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. We'll see you at the WILD conference.
Heather says maybe the instructional designer you hire could do a training or designing on designing online learning for all of us as well. Good idea.
That's a great idea.
And they would be well equipped to do that.
I think that's a record.
I think so, under half an hour. Wow.
All right.